Hi there, welcome to Market Intel. My name is Dave Armstrong and I'm joined with my co-host Sam Cherry from Tobacco Business Sales. Market Intel is a show where we bring you people that are actually dealing with real life businesses in the front row and tell you what's actually happening in the market. So today we are joined by Lance Edmonds from Kendons. Kendons is a sort of mid-tier chartered accounting firm here in Christchurch with a big focus on advisory. And welcome Lance.
Thank you.
Yeah, how are you feeling? First time on camera?
A little bit nervous, I'll be honest.
It's all good.
Accountants love this sort of thing.
Yes. We're not introverted or anything like
We're
that.
not like hiding behind screens.
No.
So the whole point of this is about just sort of sitting down and actually having a bit of a casual chat over coffee about what's actually happening in the market. And rather than listening to one of the top CEOs or economists that are looking at it from a very high level, this is sort of really getting down to what I call the front row, you know. So being an ex-prop yourself, you know what I mean by that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess just to sort of kick things off, like, you know, what are you seeing in the market at the moment? What's the biggest challenge you're seeing just now for small to medium business here in Christchurch?
Well, I mean, Kendons is a chartered accounting firm. We, like I said, focus on advisory. So we spend, a lot of time we like to get really close with our clients to get a feel for it, how everything's going. I reflect on last year. The start of the year was pretty tough for a lot of industries. I'd probably, construction's had a bit of a downturn over the past few years. That's still carrying on. We're seeing a lot in the hospitality, retail, across the board. There's just, I call it kind of a renormalisation in regards to what the business's profitability is, turnover, what the look of it is. So we spend a lot of time doing a bit of restructuring, planning, and sorting out, just tidying them up. I think last year for me, with the capital gains tax being proposed by the government, actually hurt our economy. We found a lot of clients just not do anything. When they don't like, when there's uncertainty, they don't want to, they stop. Most of our transport guys, they saw at least a 15% drop in turnover. Transport's kind of our lifeblood of our economy. So if transport's kind of finding it tough, it's going to flow through all the economy. So for about a month, it slowed down. I didn't have many clients doing much, to be honest. But as soon as that capital gains tax got taken off the table, bang, we suddenly saw a lot more activity. We saw a lot of investors buying rental properties, a lot of businesses saying, we're going to employ people, we're going to buy plant equipment. What I found is the last half of the year, we saw a lot of confidence. You hear a lot of media saying there's a lot of uncertainty around, confidence is down, people aren't doing things. But actually, I think it's bucking the trend. I saw a lot of clients buying big pieces of equipment, employing. And I think that's starting to flow through into this year. Usually we find over Christmas, there's a few people having cash flow issues. I'm finding less of that happening. But there are still parts of each industry still struggling along. I think hospitality has definitely got some issues. But I think we have we gone into recession in Christchurch? Probably not, but I think it's been pretty stagnant. And I think that might carry on like that. We might see some growth. The banks are saying property prices are going up, so 7 or 8% over the next couple of years. That will hopefully create more people feel more wealth, so they might start to spend more. So I think this year's going to be a better year. From our clients, the clients are demanding a lot in regards to more around how do we improve our sales, how do we market, and we as accountants like to look at technology as a way of saving time and efficiencies. That's what we find a lot of our clients are demanding. They said, well, help us with our sales. Don't tell us how to do some big business plans. We actually just want to know what do we do to generate our income, what efficiencies can we do. And accountants, are moving more towards technology and, being that mentor. A lot of them just want to ring up, said, I'm going to do this contract, what do you think about it? And that's kind of the fun stuff that Kendons likes to do, but that's what clients are wanting. So I think this year's going to be a better year. I think confidence is up a wee bit more.
I wonder what it is that's driving that confidence up again, because there was obviously a lot of stuff in the media in regards to when the Labour Party came on and National were really flying that flag that business confidence was at an all-time low. However, it seems to be sort of slowly creeping up if you look at the sort of stuff you're seeing in the paper and that. And I completely agree. Like I obviously deal a lot with clients that are looking to expand, because a lot of what I do is expansion capital. Yeah. So I also see clients that are struggling from a cash flow perspective. So I sort of see both sides of the coin as well. But yeah, I'd agree. It's probably in the last 6 months it's really sort of taken off, and people are looking at doing more, and they're looking at borrowing money, and they are looking at bringing on some more plant and some staff members, and Yeah, that whole general business
Money's
confidence.
cheap
Yeah.
if you can get it.
If you can get it, yeah.
So that,
And that's-
may cause a stimulus, but you've also got to make sure the bank's quite happy.
Yeah, but I wonder what it is though, like overall, that has caused that confidence to spike.
Well, I think a lot of clients have now, especially looking at Christchurch, they've adjusted to this earthquake hangover.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them have dealt with their debts. Now understand actually this is the core stuff we've got. With
Yeah.
you know,
This is the new normal of Christchurch now.
and so we now got to a wee bit of certainty. When there's that uncertainty, they said, "Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do here. Oh, there's some problems with our cash flow." I think my big concern probably this year would be probably from the finance side of things, being able to access those financial markets, the major banks. We're seeing a lot of resistance from the banks. We've put a lot of good businesses in. The banks have said no, we're not comfortable or putting certain covenants on it, and I think that will probably maybe stifle the growth. But if you can access that, that's really good. I mean, the signs from across all banks have said we're not going to just lend, we're just going to ask those big questions. So we see a lot more, we want cash flow projections, why do you need an overdraft? And I think that's a good thing, but also sometimes worry a wee bit that the banks go too far. They're so risk adverse.
I remember having to work with a hospitality client, and I don't do much hospitality in Christchurch because obviously I think there's a bit of a saturation in the hospitality market, but the good operators are still doing well. And I think for the bank, we actually had to do a hourly profit and loss projection so we could work out I'm not joking,
Wow.
we actually had to work out what the margin was going to be on a cheese scone and a coffee, what it was going to be sold. So if we had 9 people come in the first hour, if 5 bought a cheese scone and 9 bought a coffee, what our GP margin would look like. And it was just so very, and it was fully backed by housing. So that's a real indicator of how hard hospitality is for some funding at the moment.
Yeah, I think banks, the ones I've spoken to and the people with clients, across all industries we go, is probably tough as agriculture. Construction's pretty much a no-no unless there's really, it's a good business, it's got good contracts, signed contracts. Hospitality, it's very difficult. You'd have to be backed by your house and property. Retail is definitely margins getting tighter. We're seeing a lot more of the e-commerce. It's great that the government put through the GST on the overseas ones. I think that's starting to have a bit of an impact on the local e-commerce sites and all that, which is good to see. But yeah, it's just difficult out there. But if you can access it, it's cheap, and that's great. And that's where a lot of people who say, well, actually, we can get access to that. So should we grow? And I'm not a financial advisor or a bank, but I suspect interest rates are going to be low for quite a while.
Yeah, that's going to be talking about OCR
I
held
think
at
I heard
1%.
they won't be raising it until the end of next year.
Yeah.
So it's going to
Yeah.
be low.
Yeah, I mean, you got the coronavirus coming in, and I think that might be just not a permanent impact, but it'll be a temporary situation. But how long it takes, and yeah, I think Christchurch. I mean, if we get more population, I think the hospitality will sort the industry out. I just really want Metro Sport to come on the stadium, and I think our CBD is going to be
Convention centre
is going to
game changer.
Yeah, I mean that's business income. It's not tourism, and we never really had the tourism benefit yet. But with that convention, that's straight to the
There's a lot of hospitality establishments around that area that built the places 2 or 3 years ago, waiting for this to happen, and the ones who have held on will hopefully bear a lot of fruit.
Yep, big
in
doctors'
years' time,
convention. They're going to be spending money.
6,000 people can hold, and you imagine them all filtering out to hotels and bars and restaurants.
Well, I mean, looking at clients in hotels and motels, the occupancy rate hasn't been at 100%. Room rates are getting a lot of pressure on them. So I'd like to see that have to flow through. So there's issues I think in the next, with the amount of apartments coming online. I worry whether is there going to be enough? There'll be lots of supply, but is there enough people there to tenant it in the Airbnbs? But I think I have a lot of confidence in Christchurch CBD. But when will it boom? I couldn't tell you that.
So what opportunities, like you were talking about how you've got some clients that are now looking at growing, looking at expanding. Is there any particular theme you're seeing there, and what industries that sort of theme?
The big, it's interesting. A lot of them are actually, looking at their supply chain and say, well, actually, instead of contracting out some of that work, let's bring it in-house. And so we're seeing a lot of them buy some big pieces of equipment, looking at saying, well, actually, we can get some efficiencies and savings here. Or they're actually seeing a lot of forward work ahead of them because, if we pick on the construction industry, at the start of the year, a lot of people say, I've got lots and lots of work. Last year, I don't have much on. This year, I've got lots of work. I'm pretty fully booked, The question is when it starts to kick in, and that's always a problem with construction industry. It's never a perfect model.
No.
There'll be, an engineer's got some issues, or council are going to hold things up and all of that. So But what I'm definitely hearing is a lot of them have got a lot of work ahead of them. And, you know, I had a big fabricator, and, you know, he's confident now that the work's there. So, right, I'm going to invest. I'm going to employ more people. I'm going to buy more equipment. Before, it was nervousness, you know, and when, like I said, back to uncertainty, just don't do anything.
Yeah.
I remember the last global recession, you would have seen, you know, everyone just stopped.
Yes.
You know, it was 6 to 12 months to year, 2 years, everyone didn't do it. And then realised, oh, hold on, it's not as bad as we think it is. The ones that were going to fall over. But the thing that I like about it is that when I look at the last global recession, the ones who did really well, the ones who were disciplined, you know, they paid debt back, had some reserves. I always say to people, have some cards to play when it gets to, you know, a tough time, you know, and, you know, lean on your house, talk to the bank. Bank saying you've been a good, you know, debt repayer, you've been really stringent in regards to looking after your affairs. But also getting, and I've been not yelling, but telling my clients a lot to say, hey, you're doing well, but remember, it's not going to be a perfect, you know, straight line. It's going to go down. And I think Christchurch has had that dip.
Yeah.
I think we're at the bottom. I can't get any worse. It's just how long it's going to creep up. And it may take a long time. I mean, when was the last global recession? 11 years now?
Yeah.
We need to go in cycles of 7. So it's, you know, it's well overdue. But, you know, everyone's saying the fundamentals aren't there of a sign of one. There's a lot of scaremongering going around.
Yeah.
I blame a wee bit the media, you know, hyping it up a wee bit, and that's why I think what's happening at the end of last year is actually the business said, oh, we're ignoring all this hype and rubbish, and we know what's ahead of us. Let's start to take a little bit more risk.
Yeah,
It's good.
Yeah.
And that's what we
want the banks to do, take a bit more risk, and I don't think they're like that at the moment.
No.
Well, they've got some issues at the moment, obviously, with the capital restrictions that they have to hold aside. So it's kind of their whole, because obviously I've come from the banking industry, and the game has changed. You know, so it is hard. But it's, in a way, it's good because it's obviously going to strengthen our banking system as a whole, and it's actually allowing some non-bank players actually into the market better. And so you're seeing some more innovative products coming through, and more flexibility. So for some of those people to get ahead and have, but it's still going to be a period of adjustment, because I think the statistic is that 90% of all business finance in the country is being done by the major banks. So, you know, they've got the monopoly. So it's going to take a bit of time for any other players to really get a bit of a dent in there. But ultimately, it's a good thing. If you look at the overseas markets, especially, it's kind of the norm. You know, the banks don't have that. Well, they probably still have the majority share, but there's a better spread as it compared to New Zealand. But,
I mean, that's what we'd like to see, because for us, you know, clients need funding. We go, one of the first port of call is the major banks. And if they're not open, well, what other options have we got, you know, for clients? And it's not that they need money to sort, you know, they're having losses. It's actually they want to grow, and they're saying, well, where do I get access to that capital?
A lot of them don't know
the
there are options. They think
no.
it's the big 4 or 5, and that's it. But there's plenty of other options out there.
And there's a golden opportunity at the moment. Like you're talking about, confidence is starting to build, and there's some good growth to be made, and especially like in your market where people are looking at potentially exiting in the next year or two. And some good established businesses, some good client bases, but the challenge is getting the right people funded into those businesses, because
it's a big part of how I appraise a business. I talk to the bankers. Would you be willing to lend against this business? Because not everybody has $1 million in the bank account, or has that equity in a Christchurch property.
Well, that's one of the things probably in the near future, we're having a lot of clients who are getting to that age, and their expectation that they will put it, you know, the sales sign, and so 100 people are going to come in and offer them the check that they want. And a lot of the time, the businesses aren't ready. Their expectation on what the business is worth is too high. Automotive industries, you know, in Christchurch, there's all of them retiring now. There's only a amount of pool of people be able to buy them, and then a lot of them can't fund it, because once again, the banks say, well, you don't have enough equity in your house, or you don't have a house. I know you're a good mechanic, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to take that risk. We're seeing a lot over the last few years where we see management buy it happen, where the owner is selling to the staff, but the staff don't have the money, so what's happening is they're having to leave a lot of their capital in there and try and get it paid out.
You'll finance a bit. We've seen that as well as a last-ditch effort, and I think we actually had it at a workshop which is very similar. But it was, staff member was fantastic. He was the right person to take over the business. Very small business, but the only option for him to buy it, he was 24, he's just had his first baby, was for the owner to keep a bit of money in, and it's worked out great so far.
And some of these can be quite good investments for some private investors as well, and that's obviously what I do. But that's something we can talk about another day. But I guess I've really enjoyed this chat. But from what I understand, basically, I guess to summarise is that Yes, there's challenges, especially in some of the sort of more traditional sectors such as hospitality and retail and construction. However, the opportunities are definitely there and confidence is rising as a whole in Christchurch. Biggest challenge potentially though is access to finance, obviously, and it sounds like some people are still a little bit hesitant, so they want a little bit more data and reassurance and a bit more forward work. And so just to sort of finish off, you sort of already touched upon it, but like, what's your one piece of advice for someone that is in business at the moment?
The accountant and me always say, make sure your cash flow is sorted. Don't be too much debt loaded. But the thing here is focus on your sales. Market. Use technology to save costs and efficiencies and time. But that would be it's all about selling, and have you got that model? And have you got the right skill set? Or not skill set, just the staff skill set, because that's another area that there's probably issues. There's a shortage of, there's not enough skilled people out there. So make sure you've got good staff and sort your cash flow out.
Nice. Okay. Thanks for coming in, Lance. It was awesome. And I hope you've all enjoyed this episode of Market Intel. If anyone out there is keen to come on board and have a bit of a chat with us because they feel they can add some value, please reach out and we'll have a coffee. Thanks, guys. See you later.